And while one event ends, another begins. Tomorrow night, the Quad City Music Guild opens the final show of its 75th season, and it's none other than Sweeney Todd. In this infamous show, Todd is an unjustly exiled barber who's seeking revenge on the judge who framed him. And here to give us a sneak peek is director Luke Vermeer and actor Caleb Sweeney. Guys, thanks both so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Okay, so describe, don't spoil the plot, but for people who haven't seen Sweeney Todd, describe what happens.
Well, it's about a barber who gets exiled off to Australia at the time and makes his way back to London and seeks revenge on the man that wrongfully accused him. And his revenge plot begins to include other people in London. And
some unwillingly.
Absolutely. And to cover their crimes, the woman who owns the meat pie shop downstairs decides to tweak her recipes a little bit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got to ask, is there a lot of fake blood in this show?
There is. How many gallons do we have?
I think we have 8 liters of fake blood that should hopefully last us the run. If not, we need to go make some more.
Okay, make some more. How do you,
Yeah.
I have to ask, how do you make your
blood?
blood?
Cornstarch, corn syrup, red food dye, a little bit of chocolate syrup. It actually tastes pretty good.
I was gonna say, it sounds edible.
Yeah,
It
it's absolutely edible. It's delicious.
Okay, I love that. So I wanted to point out for viewers, if you haven't been able to see a Quad City Music Guild show this year, they did Wizard of Oz earlier. And Luke, you're directing Sweeney Todd, but you were the lion in Wizard of Oz. Talk to me about the duality that the Music Guild has.
There was actually a little bit of overlap, so I was listening to the dark show while I was on my way to go rehearse the bright happy show. The Sweeney has become a little all-consuming. It takes a lot to put on a show, and we find time in our rehearsal schedule to make light and have fun and kind of cleanse the palate, if you will.
I love it.
Yeah.
So this show has a gigantic orchestra in it, so big that you guys had to move all your musicians out of the pit, and they're now set up behind the stage. Caleb, what was that like to not be able to see the music director when you're actually on stage?
It's very interesting. We have a lot of cameras set up, so our music director is conducting the whole time, but we see him on different little screens they're scattered throughout the audience, and we call them Mitch cams. So we have about 3 of those that we can look at during the show, and that's been pretty helpful, but generally it's been a little bit more difficult to hear the pit sometimes and a little bit of a challenge, but we've been able to make it work.
Dang, that is so cool, and I cannot tell you guys enough, if you haven't been to a Music Guild performance, the music is outstanding, isn't it?
It's amazing that we are able to bring in so many talented local musicians to perform for our shows. We're one of the only people that regularly has live music playing, and we're called Music Guild for a reason. It's really nice.
I love it. Before I let you guys go, I gotta ask, and this is the last show of the 75th season. What does it feel like to cap off a historic season with this show?
Well, for me, this is actually the first Music Guild show that I've ever been a part of.
Wow.
So it's kind of a beginning and an end, but I don't know what it's like for you, Luke.
It's been really fun. We had our 75th season gala earlier this year, and it was nice to see some of the retired Guilders. I actually got to meet our Mrs. Lovett from when we did it for the first time in the 80s, and we got to bond over the show a little bit, and that was a really rewarding experience.
Well, it's going to be awesome to see you guys on stage. To see you behind the scenes, I should say. Thanks, guys, for coming by today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, mark your calendars. Personally, I have already grabbed my tickets. Sweeney Todd opens at the Quad City Music Guild tomorrow night. This show runs both this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as well as next weekend. Tickets are $20 for adults and $15 for students. And once again, it's the final show for the Quad City Music Guild's 75th season.